Welcome to Ray Reads, a podcast where I talk about the books I'm currently reading like I'm in a sad little one-man book club. For this episode of Ray Reads, I will be discussing the book The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. The first thing I obviously have to talk about is the sisterly love in this book. Katniss's love for her little sister Prim is the driving force behind the trilogy. I think that's beautiful, especially since it is not something that I come across often in young adult or really any other books I have read. When Katniss volunteers at the reaping ceremony, we receive our first glimpse into her heart. I would never categorize this book as a romance. The only love that truly means anything to Katniss in the story is the one she feels for Prim. And although she tries, Katniss does not love her mother as much. The Everdeen family was completely shattered by the death of Katniss's father. Grief made a ghost out of her mother. It is tragic, and I do feel bad for the woman, but a mother has an obligation to care for her children. Obviously, she is entitled to experience this grief. It's just wrong that she abandoned her daughters to it. If Katniss, as an 11-year-old, had not stepped up to provide for them all, this family would have starved to death. It is understandable how Katniss resented her mother. When Katniss yells at her mother during her farewells, demanding that she be stronger and not abandon Prim this time, it was when I first cried while reading this series. Despite all that, Katniss tries to forgive her mother and mend their relationship in small ways. After the loss of her father and these years of being so self-reliant, it is no wonder that Katniss has difficulty understanding Peeta's intentions. Peeta is the sweetest person, and I love him so much. But Katniss misinterprets his actions as a form of manipulation meant to lure her into letting down her guard. Katniss simply cannot wrap her head around the concept of a person who does nice things without expecting anything in return. This is why she gets along so well with Haymitch, though. Haymitch and Katniss are so jaded. They know that everything comes with a price. Neither of them can stand the feeling of a debt owed. It just is not in their nature to accept a gift at face value. But Peeta constantly performs nice deeds for Katniss. Her survival and happiness always come before his own. Peeta teamed up with the career pack in order to protect Katniss in the arena. He made her the focus of his interview to win her more sponsors. He covered for her when she recognized the Avox she couldn't save in District 12. He played up her skills for Haymitch, and, most importantly, he gave her bread. Bread plays a crucial role, pun intended, in this story. The boy with the bread saved Katniss and her family, and was willing to endure a beating to do so. This was his first act of love for Katniss. Bread is used to communicate love and solidarity. After Rue dies, Katniss honors the 12-year-old tribute by wreathing her with beautiful flowers rebelling against the capital and the way it slaughters innocents. This was a very touching moment that pierced everyone's hearts, particularly in those of District 11, Rue's home. District 11 is another poor district, so it is obvious that a large number of its population chipped in to send their bread as a gift to Katniss in thanks for Rue. It is unheard of for an entire district to send a gift to a tribute beside their own. This is the first time that we see the districts uniting. I can only imagine how proud Cinna felt in that moment. After all, Cinna was responsible for the first display of unity in the Hunger Games. This was Cinna's very first time being a stylist for the games, and he had a clear agenda for requesting District 12. The Girl on Fire routine and the hand-holding of the District 12 tributes sent a message that change is arising. Every outfit Cinna creates is meant to make a powerful statement. The Nightlock double suicide incident is the logical conclusion from this series of subtle acts of rebellion. Katniss had tried to play by the Capitol's rules in the arena. She paid close attention to Haymitch's signals and played her part as a star-crossed lover from District 12 the best she could. She gave her first kiss to Peeta while he was dying from the fever and infection from the wound Cato inflicted. Although Katniss did experience a slight stirring of affection for Peeta, she does not yet love him. Her name is well suited to her character. Primrose is named after a lovely flower. Katniss's eponymous plant is actually one that is edible, and it ties into her being a survivor. Her survival for the sake of her sister is all that matters to Katniss. Katniss does care deeply for Peeta. She cannot bring herself to kill the boy with the bread, her own symbol of hope. When she raises those berries defiantly to her lips, it is because she does not want to survive in a world without the boy with bread. I understand and appreciate Katniss and how she always prioritizes survival over romance. But I can't help feeling so sad for Peeta. My poor boy deserves better. Peeta is absolutely a romantic, and there is no denying that he is head over heels in love with a girl who doesn't truly understand him. The seeds of his love were planted the first time he listened to Katniss singing in class. Peeta's father claims that he had a crush on Katniss's mother long ago, but she fell in love with Katniss's father because of the way he could sing. The Mockingjays always were enraptured by his voice, and now Peeta is utterly enraptured by Katniss. I can only dream of finding someone who loves me as unconditionally as Peeta loves Katniss. I mean, Peeta is always willing to fight or die for her, even though Katniss doesn't fully love him back. I just want for my boy to be happy. My heart breaks for Peeta at the end of this novel. Put yourself in his shoes. Imagine that you are simping, totally in love with, this girl who you never thought you had a chance with. And then, when you finally do have a shot to get closer to her, you know that at least one of you will die soon. So you devote yourself to doing anything in your power to save her, never once considering your own survival. But then, a miracle happens. The rules are changed so that you now have a chance to escape the arena together. Your girl then finds you and nurses you back to health, showering you with all the affection she can muster. Against all odds, you and your girl survive and win. But is this your happily ever after scene? No, far from it. Just when you finally thought that you got the girl, you find out that her love was an act, a mere survival strategy. It is not the end of the world, but it hurts. It hurts to be used like that, when you are nothing but genuine the entire time. So, Peeta doesn't get his dream come true, and he lost a leg on top of all that heartbreak. How tragic is that? Wrapping this up, I only have one more little thing to discuss. In the beginning of the book, Katniss explained what happens in District 12 when people starve to death. Starvation is an all too common form of death, but the peacekeepers report those deaths as being due to some common illness instead. I took note of this because it reminds me of all of the rumors during the COVID outbreak that hospitals were doing the same kind of thing to falsify their records. So I thought that was a little interesting. I have always loved The Hunger Games. My father bought me the trilogy, and it was one of the very first books that kicked off my reading addiction. This was also my introduction to the dystopian genre. This book does a lot of things right, and I can't get enough of it.